Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. And like Sal already said, compliance is pretty important for Auvoria Prime, but for each and every one of us. So what I hope to establish is not being seen as the kind of police officer, but more as a resource that you can also utilize. So when you have a question, when you're not certain if something is allowed, reach out to me. I'm very approachable. You can always reach me by email, compliance@auvoriaprime.com. You can find me on social media. It's very easy to drop me a message on Messenger, and I will always be happy to think along and to guide you in the right way, because I feel it also as my responsibility to help you come up with different ways of marketing where you can really help yourself stand out when you compare yourself to many other marketers out there who are just flashing results, flashing money, and just have a kind of cheesy type of marketing. You are better than that. So the setup for this call and the calls in the coming weeks is to have a little bit of training to focus on one or two topics and then open it up for any questions that I will happily answer. So let's get started for today. Today we're going to talk about two topics. The first one is video creation, and the second is sharing software settings. Two important topics that I see pop up almost on a daily basis. So it makes sense to address these two as the very first topics. When we look at video creation, you can basically see four types of videos. We have a business overview presentation video. We have short videos for Facebook or Instagram stories. And we have longer videos for a video platform like YouTube or Vimeo. And there are so many more video platforms coming up. Just as an example, these two. And then we have training videos for your groups. When we talk about a business presentation overview video, if you want to create those, you have to be a certified presenter. In your back office, you will find a link for the presenter training and the application form to apply to become a certified presenter. You will have to fill in a couple of questions so we can verify that you have understood the content of that training and that you can apply everything that you have learned in that training while doing your presentation. And another very important requirement is that compliance has to be a channel manager on your YouTube channel. And the reason for that is the following. Every now and then you will see people creating presentation videos, uploading it on their YouTube, and then after a couple of months they move on, or they just walk away from network marketing, and that video just stays out there. You will find videos on YouTube from companies that are long gone. Well, we will be around for a long time. That's why we so much emphasize on compliance, but we want up-to-date information to be available. And as soon as we have a change in our company slide deck, those business presentation overview videos have to be updated as well. So it's just to make sure that only up-to-date information will be available for anyone with an interest to look at what Auvoria Prime has to offer. When we look at short videos for Facebook or Insta stories, we've decided to put a time limit on that. We're talking about videos that are 1 to 5 minutes long max. And if in such a video you mention Forex, there has to be a Forex disclaimer at the bottom of the video all through the video. If residual income from the business opportunity is mentioned, you will need to show an income disclaimer at the bottom of that video. This is the short Forex disclaimer, and that can really be in smaller text, not that small that you cannot read it without a magnifying glass, but it can be small. Trading Forex can be risky and therefore is not suitable for every investor. It is your responsibility to do your research and to understand all risks involved. In case of any doubts, contact a financial advisor. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. It's very simple. And when you talk about residual income, income from having reached a rank, income is never guaranteed and depends solely on your skill set, your commitment, persistence, and the quality of contacts you introduce. Now, you also can create longer marketing videos. And again, videos that you will upload to YouTube, Vimeo, to interest your followers to join you. Well, every video with that purpose must start with a full disclaimer shown and read out loud. This is that long disclaimer. I'm not going to read it right now because we have already read it in the compliance training that is in your back office available. But every video that you do about Auvoria Prime or the products that we are offering or the business opportunity, you will have to use this disclaimer at the start of the video, not at the end, at the start. And then finally, you can create training videos for your groups, because when you're an affiliate, you want to build your business, you want to support your team, and you want to train them. Now, there are two types of training videos. You have a software training video, and you also have team building training. Every video, again, must start with a full disclaimer, shown and read out loud. And why is that? Because these videos can start to go around on the internet. And you will never have someone say, oh, there wasn't a disclaimer in that video, and send that off to a regulator. So make it a habit for yourself to simply have one slide that you will use every time, pull it up, read it out loud, be done with it, start with your training. Now, there is another requirement. If you are doing a software training for your group, those can only be unlisted on a video platform. And why is that? Software training is very specific. None of us, or not many of us, are a licensed advisor. And in a software training, we talk about settings. We talk about when to exit the markets, and we talk about a range of topics. It's very important that we keep that within our groups. A team building training, however, I can understand that you would want to share that with people with an interest in Auvoria Prime, because that's the way that they can get a sense of the culture, the excitement, the passion within your group, and the kind of community that they would be entering in. So a software training, unlisted, a team building training can be published. But what's applicable to all videos? When you create a video where you want to show a trade alert in Alexander, make sure that it should be blurred or filmed in such an angle that the actual alert cannot be read. And if you happen to do a screencast, then you will have to blur the details like a take profit, a stop loss, and multiple level trades in that alert. And the reason for that is that if we would show that, it could be perceived as providing a trading signal. And we are not a signal provider. So we want to avoid even someone thinking that, and that's why we have to blur that kind of details out, or make a shot of your computer screen where you simply see the green and the red buttons. Say you can approve or decline or reject, and that's it. And take it from such a distance that you cannot read the screen. Never ever show results in a video. And I think that's really important. And for affiliates, but also for customers who enroll other customers, please make it a habit to not only tell them to create an account at Auvoria University and to set up their software, but also point them towards the compliance training video, because a lot of people are new. Promoting something is new to them as well. And since they see so many marketers online just sharing results, they think that is acceptable behavior. And it's maybe in other companies, it is not within Auvoria Prime. So make that part of your startup process for any new customer that joins you. Any video that you want to share publicly must be submitted for approval. send it to the email address compliance@auvoriaprime.com. I always try to get back to you within 24 hours. And if there is a weekend, it may be one day 48, but it's rather quick that I do respond, because I understand the importance that when you have a video, you want to get it out there. I think that's the big advantage from having worked on both sides, both corporate and in the field. That brings us to the second topic of today, the settings of software. Very often I see, especially in results group, that people ask for settings and other people sharing their settings. Don't do it. And why is that? Settings of software, you can only share it within your own personal group. And within your own personal group, when you are having a conversation about how each individual handles their software, how they approach the market, what their philosophy behind it is, what their strategy is, that's kind of a training setting. You cannot share your settings in results or in prospect groups. And you can also not share them with cross lines, not in public, because that can be perceived as financial advice. It also leads to confusion, and that can cause people to blow their account. They see a setting, they think, oh, you know what, let's try that. That's not specifically what is recommended by our chief market analyst, and things go south very fast. On top of that, it's illegal to do so if you are not licensed to give financial advice. So really don't do it. What your settings are is something that suits you. You have already perhaps gone through a bit of a learning curve. You understand the market, you have your own risk tolerance, and you have your own goals. And that's different for each individual. So people will have to try that out on a demo account and find out what they feel comfortable with. That's up to themselves. And because we have 2 calls a week by our chief market analyst, who will help people understand the markets, help them understand what they should be alert on in the upcoming week, and even go through it, how to exit in a certain way. With the features that we are having within Einstein and within Alexander, with the trailing equity, I have seen that as a blessing for many people already in the past 2 weeks, because once it is triggered, they feel like, you know what, we can just easily go to sleep because we know that we have secured part of our profits. And that's awesome. So let's protect that all together. Don't share your settings. Only in a type of training within your own group, it's okay to discuss that, to share that. And it's also the reason why we don't want videos of trainings to be uploaded in a public way. Only available within your group, within your team, your customers, and your fellow affiliates. Well, that's everything that I wanted to cover so far. So I'm going to stop sharing so I can look at the chat and to see what's in there. Question for my team: can we use hashtags like invest forex? Let's stay away from invest. We are not an investment company. We are a technology company that delivers technology within the forex space. So we deliver softwares, and in the near future we will also have our apps, also technology, but we do not take investments. We do not sell investments. We do not sell profits. We do not sell results. We sell software. So make it a habit to rephrase whatever you want to use, and don't use the word invest or investment. Don't do it. Forex, perfectly fine to use a hashtag Forex, a hashtag Auvoria Prime, a hashtag making money in the 21st century. You can be very creative in it. Amazing info. I'm happy to share that with all of you. How can we control which we share the software setting? Can we ask them to delete and not forward? I'm not sure if I understand that question. If you share software settings with an individual, that's probably will be someone within your team. Normally, what I do is always say, I cannot tell you what to do. I can share with you what I'm doing, but it's totally up to you what settings you will follow. Because my goals are my goals, my tolerance is my tolerance and not yours. And within a training, you will be covered if you have used the risk disclaimer at the start of your training. If someone asks how much we have profited, are we allowed to talk to them about that information? No, we are not. When people ask you how much you have made or how much you make on average, what you could say is, we have a group where you can see results from people, but that all is results in the past. No one can foresee the future. No one can predict the future. Anything can happen. And even though I may have made a certain percentage in the past, the market could go terribly wrong in the coming 2 weeks and I would suffer a loss. You will have to experience that for yourself. If it's individual, you can share your own results, but you will have to use a disclaimer. And for that, I refer back to the compliance training that's already in your back office. Make it a habit to have that available at all times. Simply read that disclaimer. It's not that long, but it's protecting yourself. Helping others grow their financial resources. Yes, helping others explore how to benefit in the financial markets. There are so many ways that you can use to rephrase it. In a way, I think within network marketing especially, we have seen a culture developing where it became normal practice just to flash results, flash piles of money, and blast out how much money you have made. It's cheesy, it's cheap, it's illegal, it's non-compliant, and it's really a violation of FTC rules. Anything that could already indicate that you have, for example, purchased a car because you have joined network marketing already is an income claim. So you will have to use an income disclaimer, even if I would say, you know what, because of me joining network marketing, my grandchildren will never have any worries in their life. That's an income claim. I need to show a disclaimer. And if we start to develop for ourselves an awareness of how regulators look at the combination of network marketing with Forex, two regulated industries combined, you can imagine that they use magnifying glasses to look at our marketing efforts. And that's why, as a company, we have to be really strict. We have to be strict in notifying people about a first violation. We have to be very decisive in taking the second violation step, which is a 2-week suspension without pay for an affiliate. And if you're a customer and you have your software waived, well, then the next month will not be waived. You will have to pay for it. That's the penalty for violating the policies and procedures. I can really encourage everyone to spend half an hour every now and then to read part of those policies and procedures. It's very enlightening. You learn a lot about how well we have secured your interests, the interests of our customers, the interests of our affiliates, but also the interest of the company itself. You will have to look after all of the parties involved. So it cannot just be the customers, it cannot be just the company, it's a joint effort. And as a company, we have to take our part really seriously. That's also why we spend time in educating you, in getting you up to speed and understanding what is allowed and what isn't allowed. Can I post my own manual trades on my social media platform that's not affiliated with Auvoria Prime? If you are using the same platform to also market Auvoria Prime, no. Because for a regulator, it is not clear to see what is Auvoria Prime and what isn't. They will look at the total picture. You will also have to understand for yourself what is your purpose of sharing your manual trades with the world. What's the reason? If you feel that you want to share your personal manual trades with others, create a group of traders interested in discussing manual trading or whatever, but keep it separate from your marketing endeavors for Auvoria Prime. Was that answer to me? I have no idea what answer you meant. So perhaps I will find it out later on. Can we show during one-on-one meeting the software for a potential customer? There is absolutely no problem with doing a screen share, or if you're meeting someone face-to-face, well, that will not very likely be at this time since most of us are in lockdown. But yes, you can do a screen share then, as long as you use your disclaimer. Use your disclaimer. Make it a habit when you're talking Forex, when you're talking about trading, use a disclaimer. Read it out loud. Even if it's your best friend that you speak almost on a daily basis, when you're talking Forex, when you're sharing results, showing the workings of software, use the disclaimer. Protect yourself at all times. Because who is a friend today doesn't necessarily have to be a friend still next week. We should not use the word invest. That's why I wrote the words, are you interested in growing your financial resources? Yeah, interested in growing your financial resources is a perfect way of describing it. What I'm trying to encourage everyone is to think creatively. I had a conversation with a number of leaders who are really very successful, have already reached very nice ranks within Auvoria Prime in just the last few weeks. And they were struggling, like, how can I do a review on a company when I cannot share results? There are so many ways that you can do it. So I gave them a couple of examples. Instead of focusing on the results, you can focusing on how easy it is to get familiar with the Forex space, seeing results, but not having to spend days looking at charts. Having education that's in little bite chunks ready for you, available. So if you're brand new, you can learn what a pip is. You can learn the basics to understand what's happening on your trading platform, on your Auvoria Prime Connect. Those little things are really cool to share within a post. Like, wow, even people who are brand new feel very comfortable in the way that the entire process of getting them up and running is structured, very well systemized. That's something that people are interested in, because if you have a system in place, it means that you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to hold everyone's hands to help them. And that's another thing. A lot of people are so focused on the software that when they help another customer start, they will help them get their software set up. But that way, people are not going through the Auvoria Prime University, where there is a logical sequence. In the Auvoria Prime University, they first will have a couple of compliance videos, which are pretty important. And only after having gone through those few videos and having answered a couple of questions, then they get to the installation of the software videos. So there is a reason in why we do things in a certain way. By getting people directly into the software setup and not having them get through Auvoria Prime University, first of all, you're doing work that you don't necessarily have to do because it's systemized, but you're also not exposing them to that little part of compliance that is so essential. Daisy Duncan did a great job in how she explained what an income claim was. And that's if you are talking about network marketing and you're saying like, you know what, I was able to quit my job. You almost have to say, but you probably won't. It's very unlikely that you will be able to quit your job. That's how a regulator look at it. And Daisy really explained that very well in the video. So make sure that a new customer, a new team member that starts goes through those videos. Any other questions? This is your opportunity. This is your chance. I'd be happy to answer them. And if not, we'll just wrap it up. Any questions that you run into in the coming week, just gather them, collect them, and we'll go through them next week. Next week, we will have different topics. If there's a need to it, in my idea, it's really like, let's get parts of our policies and procedures just enlarged. Make sure that you all are aware of what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and that we understand that compliance is something that you can say, hey, we are so good with regulations and acting within that legal framework that you must be really stupid not to want to be part of our community. Can we summarize results from a Facebook page to share with potential customer with disclaimer? No. You can only, what you can do is globally just glow over the Facebook page. If people want to see more results, they can join the Facebook group and see with their own eyes, because that's when they have to accept an invitation to actually see results. More for what to do next, where to follow up the info of the company. Well, if people are not using Facebook or Telegram, that's a bit of an issue. I would strongly say my approach, and I had that recently, is, you know, if you are serious about getting involved in Forex, getting involved in this company, you will at least have to install Telegram, because all the communication of this company is done on Telegram as well. In the near future, it will be our own Ava app, but until then, it's Telegram. And if they're serious, it's a simple download for one app. We're not talking about a Corona app, we're talking about a communication app. And even if they would only have the information channel, the results channel, and all the results in that channel are compliant, because that's a direct load coming from our Facebook group. And every post in there is 100% compliant. Well, if they do not have a Telegram in Dubai, then they will have to join Facebook, and they can even create a dummy profile. We really don't care. To structure information, that's not really essential, David. What you can do, we have in Auvoria Prime not only the basic compliance training and the setup for the software, but we also have, I think it's at least 25 lessons and videos on how to market correctly. So the building of the business is in there. What you have to do is make sure that people are plugged into the right channel where trainings are provided. So help them to find where recordings are, help them to find on what days and times there are training webinars that you feel that would be really good for them to pay attention to. If they don't have an interest in business building, at least plug them in on the software training calls, the software one-on-one calls, in the calls from Stephen Vetterell. That's important for them. The company update webinars, that's important. And of course, when you have a prospect group and they do want to build, explain to them, add, tag, message. But that's also part of the regular trainings that are being done in almost every group, every community that I've been part of, that I've seen, and where I've attended trainings. It's explained in each and every one of them. Then you have, of course, also your responsibility as a sponsor. That's what you're being paid for, to, the 3 S's. You have sales, you sponsor, and then you provide service. But service is not the same as doing everything that we already have in a system. Just make sure that people know where to find information, what the hours are, explain the difference in time zones, because some people struggle with that, and this is international. That's the way how we can help people start the right way and not be excluded from essential information. And if you have someone who is in Dubai, you can find another way to copy whatever message you have in Telegram, copy that on WhatsApp, or whatever way you choose to communicate with those people. Do we need send invite message to get compliance approval before I pass on to a large group? No, you can absolutely invite people if you use the right language. And if you're uncertain if your language is correct in inviting, I'd be happy to have a look. So drop us an email, compliance@auvoriaprime.com. This is the text that I want to use for an invitation. Is that okay? And I'll provide you feedback. I'll be happy to think along with you. You don't have to be afraid. Make use of me as a resource, as a source of information. What can I say when someone asks if they should close out their trades? Well, what I would personally say is, have you been following the training? What is your goal? What is your weekly performance? Are you happy with the weekly performance now? Are you using the trailing equity? Has it been triggered? If it has, well, you can choose to close everything now and take the weekly performance as it is, or you can let it run and maybe it will grow more and maybe the market will turn against you, but then at least you have your trading equity there. So a piece of your profit protected. It's up to you. Never be seduced into giving that advice, because if you give an advice and someone is unhappy, the finger will be pointed at you and you don't have a license. Because they are in drawdown. Well, I think it's really good then to have a conversation with them to explain what drawdown is. If people are completely new, they will see drawdown and they will translate that in their brain as that's a loss. And they do not understand that our software needs a bit of drawdown in order to create profits, because that's how the software works. And it's depending on what part of a community you're in. And I know that within Auvoria Prime University, there will be more videos that also will explain better the settings of the software, that will get a bit more understanding in general of how the different levels work, what they intend to do when you have multiple levels in trades, so that it becomes more normal for people and that they will see that, if you have a level 2, 3, 4 open on your trades, that's when you actually can start to feel a little bit excited, like, wow, I believe that now we're going to make some money. Because a level 0, a level 1, I mean, it's all good and all those bits and pieces add up. But you see the nice increases when you have had a series of multiple levels opens and then the market goes in your favor. That's when we all look at our charts and see those little green take profit boxes light up. Say, yes, go up, 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 or go down, 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 depending on whether it's a buy or a sell. And that's when we know, like, yes, nice increase of our balance and our equity. No, do not post your results page in your Instagram bio. I wouldn't do that because people have to ask for results. That's where you can share in a private message with the link to your result group. Because if you are just sharing that link, then in fact you're advertising results. And that's what we don't do. You can make proper use of it by saying, regulations do not allow us to share results, but we have a group where Many of our excited customers are sharing their results. So if you're interested to have a look around and see with your own eyes, drop me a message and I'll be happy to invite you. Because then they will have to accept the invitation. That's the proper way of dealing with it. Okay, well, thank you for all your questions. It's really so much fun if there are questions and that you get that bit of interaction going, because this really is something that we do together. Make use of me, see me as a resource, but on the other hand, also to help protect your interest if you're putting in your hard work in finding your three or building a business, or just using the software and you're happy with it. It would be very nice if we can ensure that you can continue to use that. And that's why we protect the interest of the company and all of you. Wishing you all a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be blessed, and have a really good time. Bye-bye.